NWSL summer signings transfer window has been open, and there's been a lot of moves. A lot has happened. We have a whole summer transfer tracker that we get to look through and kind of take a gander at what's going to happen. But over the summer, Sandra, as you were taking in all of these moves that happened, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact? Which player or team did you kind of circle and star saying, yeah, this is the team that has done a lot this summer?
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to see what this second half version of Seattle Reign looks like. They are not only putting things together to make sure that they are just nestled within that top half of the table, but some of their additions and the way they activated in their summer window here, I think gives a little bit of a tipping of the scales here. They absolutely know what's in front of them. The second half of an NWSL season is kind of where it all starts for some teams. And I think if you are one of those 5, 6, 7, or 8 spots on the table, this is where you, at the very least, bare minimum, try to separate yourselves a little bit to make sure that you are gunning for the postseason. And I don't know if there has been a team through this summer window that had made a bigger splash of a signing than when they got the big fish and me official. Everybody is excited about it, including us. I love that we were able to chat with her for a bit on attacking third. I mean, this is a player who really is just in the early phases of her career. And yet anytime you sit down, chat, or have a moment to speak with me official, you walk away leaving, gosh, that's a gamer right there. And I mean, this is a player that I remember getting early national team minutes when she played in Chicago during Megan Rapinoe's farewell game. And that was a feeling that I walked away with from this player. And I'm just like, gosh, like this player is really just an absolute gamer. She's a killer with the instinct when she gets into the match. And so not only did they acquire this player, it's on a multi-year deal. So there is an intention to build here with me official. And it's not just me official, it's the return of Sofia Huerta for me on this team, which is massive. It is huge, huge. This is a player that has always been a key component of the Seattle Reign. And the fact that she's going to come back to a team still led by Laura Harvey, there's already the familiarity there, that is sitting in a good position to make an impact. I think her addition is going to be massive for the Reign as well.
Sofia Huerta's return comes at a perfect tactical time where Seattle Reign needs someone like Huerta as a wide player that can play in this hybrid 3-5-2 kind of system. It's a 3-4-3 at times. It's a 5 back at times that Laura Harvey is doing. I mean, Huerta will slot in seamlessly into one of those outside fullback, wingback positions where she can really showcase her skills on both sides of the ball that Seattle has been missing in that position. It's a player that wants the ball at her feet in the attack, can go 1v1, drive end line, cut inside, whip insane crosses on. And now Huerta has Fischel and Biondolo in the box that she can find services for. Plus, on the other side of the ball, defensively, Huerta's a great defender, 1v1. I mean, she's quick. She has great pace to get up and down. She's got good positioning as well. I think this is going to be a boost defensively that Seattle needs. And then on the assist side of things, because Huerta knows how to get those balls in. And if I'm a player like that, I mean, Jess, as leading assister, tied for the leading assister in the NWSL, how much easier it makes your job as someone serving balls in when you have players like Fischel and Biondolo that are just so hungry to get on the end of crosses. It makes a difference in your game.
It makes such a huge difference. And with these players coming in and hopefully meshing very well with one another, I think that they're going to be a very dominant force in the final third. And that's because Sofia Huerta loves to get in line serving balls. And obviously we have Fischel and Biondolo on the end of that. Oh my goodness. And then not forget, Canadian international Jordan Huitema, coming in with her height. So I think when it comes to services into the box, Sofia Huerta is going to whip them in. And, she's at the assist leading table for a reason. Her and Lynn both. So you never know. They might be just serving each other going into, the season. And I'm excited to see that. They're going to be scary in the final third moving forward throughout the season.
I was going to say it's going to be by design too. Like I think that's one of the benefits in getting a player like Huerta back. It's like you're adding to your roster, but it's a player who's been there before and been through it,
exactly,
and knows what it's like to make those kinds of second half pushes with a Seattle Reign team. Mm-hmm. I remember when Laura Harvey herself came back to NWSL after being an assistant coach with the women's national team, and they went on this second half run. There was a match that Huerta had like 143 something touches. During this game, I'm going to go back and match that. But it was like 143. I remember the number because I was like bugging out at the number.
That's
I was like, you kidding me? And Harvey was asked about it in post game and was like, yeah, that's by design. Like we want Sof Huerta getting those touches. So it's going to be, it's going to be something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, new look Seattle, how they come out. It'll be one of their biggest tests to start the second half of the season going up against Angel City. As I'm watching Washington Spirit, we have been teased and taunted with a Trinity Rodman potential return. She's been out dealing with her back and spine injury, trying to recover, and stepped away early in this season saying, I'm going to take a break and see if I can get back. She's now back in DC training with the Spirit, plus the Italian, Sofia Cantore, is coming over from Juventus, the first Italian to play in the NWSL. And now we also said goodbye to Jonah Heraldez, and we get Adrian Gonzalez as the head coach for Washington Spirit. To me, it is a changing of the guard, and the continued attacking threats that Washington Spirit brings into the mix are, guys, it's scary. It's really scary to think about what Washington can do, because they've got it on lock in the back with Kingsbury, Tara McKeown, Rebecca Bernal. The defensive structure is there. And all Washington keeps doing is providing more weapons and creativity. Sofia Cantore, with her pace, her ability to score in a variety of ways that we didn't really get to see on display at this Euros with Italy, but she did so much work off the ball defensively, combining and playing well. I'm excited to see what Washington Spirit can do once they add in a couple more of these pieces and Rodman gets back into pace. It's going to be a second half surge for Washington when they're already towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for Washington with, this new addition from Italy coming in. I think that they have such an incredible style of play, and that starts from the back. When you see Bernal getting on the ball, breaking lines, I think there are some other key pieces that need to be filled in. Ashley Hatch just announced her pregnancy, so we're going to see who's going to fill into that spot, because she's been incredible this season for Washington Spirit. And I think that things will come together for them. I think they're still going to be such a great team to play up against, because we can't leave out the fact that Casey Kruger is back, Croy Bethune is back, so the Hal Hirschfeld is back. And I think that they have enough experience to keep squeaking on by with points for the duration of this season. And then when Trinity's back, that's just going to be cherry on top for them.
Oh, I think they might squeak. We definitely talked about 5, 6, 7, and 8, but we didn't really talk about 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Washington Spirit is sitting right at number 4. And I've got I'm not even gonna say concerns. I've got some worries, because we're gonna revisit these predictions, and I've got Washington Spirit on a few of them. So I want them to make a run. I want people to know that pro Spirit here. So that's why I'm a little nervous going into this second half. I think it's going to benefit them that Gonzalez is going to be there as coach. This is again, we're talking about familiarity with Huerta and the Reign. Gonzalez is going to be there for the Spirit to carry them through as far as on the sideline in terms of what they want to do on the pitch. But we have also seen a lot of moments where maybe new additions need some time to get acclimated to teams. We don't know how Sofia Cantore is going to perform with the Spirit off of a Euros in NWSL play. What's that going to look like? Hopefully we get to find out sooner rather than later. How is Lacey Santos going to look with the Spirit coming off of Copa America, as Colombia's had a long stretch in that tournament. How much rest is she going to need coming forward? And I'm glad that you mentioned Ashley Hatch, who I think has been probably the most important player for the Spirit in 2025. And now they're going to have to figure out a way. And that's been part of the Spirit's narrative this year, right? They're going to have to figure out a way. So hopefully Trinity Rodman is part of that equation in some capacity.
It makes their job a little bit easier when they try to figure out a way with Rodman in the mix.
It could be quite the storyline if this player, who has a very concerning and very tricky back injury, somehow miraculously goes on an incredible run. So I think there's almost too much predicated on these what ifs that make it difficult to kind of predict which way they're going to sway. So I think because there's so many questions that we don't have answers to quite yet, I think they're sitting in a position that could be in danger for them on the table.
Okay, couple things there. Obviously, I want Rodman back just
100%.
because I miss watching her play.
Of
but
course.
The other part of me is like, just take the rest of the year and get 100% healthy. Like, it is not worth it for the long-term health of this player. Guys, she is so young. There's so much ceiling left for her to play. And if she, well, I don't know the status. I'm not her physio. I'm not checking out her back every day, but I am like really a heart split in two between like my head and my heart, of like my heart just wants her back on the pitch, doing the trin spin, like the celebrations, getting into fights with people. And my head is like, just take it easy, Trin. Yeah. You also mentioned Sofia Cantore, how she can get into this, the passion and the physicality that I saw Italy play with during this Euros. I think she's going to be fine. You also have to look at the roster makeup that Washington Spirit has. And there's a lot of internationals on this roster, a lot of first-year players in DC as well. I think that the group that surrounds Cantore off the pitch is going to help her make that transition a lot smoother than maybe if she went to a different team that is made up of a lot of NWSL-centric players. I think having that camaraderie off the pitch where she can kind of lean on some of these players, hey, how do we do this, right? Esme Morgan coming off of just winning the Euros with England, she can saddle up next to her in the training room and say, how do we do this? How do we get back on the same page and playing club soccer? What can I expect from this league that coming from Europe, maybe I don't know what is there. So to have that off the pitch, I think is going to help Cantore out a lot in the mix with Washington.
I want to see it. I want to see it.
I want to see Cantore make a splash, because then maybe we'll get some more Italians.
Yeah,
there you go. Let's go.
Yes.
After watching Italy just destroy during this Euros and play so passionately and advance to a semifinal, I want more Italians in the NWSL. There are a couple other players I was watching this summer across many different tournaments that I was like, guys, can we bring them to NWSL so I can watch them every week? I had a couple starred and circled, but Jess, you're nodding your head. Who did you have that you saw this summer that you're like, can we get you in America to play?
Oh, y'all, I'm over here looking at Michelle Angemain. I know it's not possible, obviously, because she just signed. She just had her new signing, but I'm like, can we just squeak her on over here, please? I basically want like every Italian here. I would love all of them here. I love their style of play, how tenacious they play. And you know what? I would say if I were to pick an Italian player to come to NWSL, Caruso also caught my eye as well. I loved her in the final third. I loved her getting behind the ball, but what she did in the first game to get their win 3-0, or excuse me, with 3 points, she had the lone goal. I mean, she was hitting these strikes from 20, 30 yards out. And I'm talking like on frame, off the crossbar, and one eventually went in the back of the net. I love the style of play from Caruso. So she's definitely another one who caught my eye throughout the Euros.
Are we just sticking to Italians, or we're just like broadening that to like any European?
Whatever you want, Sandra. Whoever you want across Copa, across WAFCON, across Euros. Who are you like, come on, my Chicago team needs you.
Somebody, literally, please just come on through. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm only asking because I heard Ajimang. So I'm like, oh, are we just like casting a wide net here? Look, they're England are the winners, right, for a reason. And I would argue that they had some pretty good young talent there that they actually didn't tap a whole lot into. I mean, Ajimang was doing incredible things, ends up winning, best young player of the tournament. But I also look at like a Grace Clinton. I know that would be like, there would have to be some sort of crazy like loan situation or transfer, like a younger like lioness. I would love to see, stateside in NWSL.
I don't know how realistic that is. I mean,
it have to be realistic. This didn't start with realistic. Let's start with who do you want to see?
My wish list is realistic because I like to actually see things come true. And Norway, although they had an underwhelming tournament, Signe Gopset, the 20-year-old forward, was so impressive. Yeah. She was gritty. She plays for Braun right now, but the way that she carried herself and carried Norway throughout the Euros tournament, it involved in every single attacking moment, off the bench, making an impact, getting starts towards the end of the tournament. She can play a little bit deeper in the midfield. You could play her as a winger up top. I think Gopset would be a really big addition to the NWSL. Also, the Belgian striker who plays for FC Nantes, Mariam Toloba, that's a young player that could get some experience in the NWSL and just add something different to the game. The same way we encourage and we want Americans to go play overseas, whether it's in France or in the WSL or anywhere that they go in Spain, like they are going to add different tactical and technical tools to their toolbox. I think a lot of that could be said for some of these European players that compete in UEFA with Norway and with Belgium. Those are two that I'm like, I want you here in the NWSL.
We'll see. It would take some work either way. It doesn't matter who it is.
No. Anyone's welcome. You guys are all welcome. Just
arms are
come
open.
on.
Anyone's welcome. Before we close out this summer signing segment, I do just want to give a little bit of love to Boston Legacy because they are NWSL team number 15 set to join the league in 2026. And they've had a busy summer as well. They've signed some big players, leaning a little defensive as well. I think that the first signings of clubs' inaugural seasons, it's very telling as to how they want to set up their team. So they have signed Annie Karches from SC Freiburg, who is actually currently playing with Club America, as their first signing. That's a midfielder. They've also signed forward Assisat Traore, who is the first player in the NWSL from Mali. They've signed defender Emerson Elgin, who is a UNC player. She was a champion there. She actually signed with Gotham earlier this season as an injury replacement player, but now she's set to go to Boston. And also center back Laurel Ansbrow from Fort Lauderdale United. So a couple defenders, a defensive midfielder, and then a forward. Boston Legacy, they are bulking up their roster as they get set for 2026.